My boyfriend promised he'd fix things after missing the concert I'd waited a year for, but after a humiliating trip, a fake apology, and lies about being broke, while partying at a festival, I finally ended our relationship, and now I'm grieving like someone died. I'm a 24-year-old woman, and I've been in a long-distance relationship with my 27-year-old boyfriend for about 2 years now. We don't live together, and both of our careers are pretty demanding, so we make a big effort to see each other at least 3 times a month. It's not easy, but we've always managed to make it work. I can say a lot of good things about our relationship. We're communicative, respectful, and genuinely love each other. But a few weeks ago, something happened that I can't seem to shake, and it's made me reevaluate how much I'm really holding things together in this relationship. To give you a little background about us, I'm very type A. I like things organized, planned ahead, and executed well. I keep a shared calendar, I make to-do lists, I research restaurants and routes and hotel reviews like it's a job. And I'll admit, it can get exhausting. Being the one who always has to plan everything, from trips with friends to work tasks to time with my boyfriend, takes a toll on my mood, especially when I feel like I don't have the space to just relax. My boyfriend is the complete opposite. He's a classic laid-back, go-with-the-flow kind of guy. His philosophy is basically, it is what it is, and while that can be grounding at times, it's also frustrating when you're the only one doing all the mental labor in a relationship. That said, I never held it against him too much because he has other strengths and has always been loving in his own way. He's never been the best planner, but he tries to show up for me in ways that matter, or at least I thought he did. So, about a year ago, he surprised me with concert tickets to my favorite artist. I was absolutely ecstatic. I'm a huge fan, and he knew that. The fact that he even thought to get me the tickets without me asking felt so special, especially since he's not typically the one to initiate plans. I remember thinking, wow, maybe he's really starting to take more initiative. This is so thoughtful. Of course, I still had to book the hotel, figure out the transportation, plan where we'd eat, and what we'd do around the concert. But honestly, I didn't care. I was just so happy and excited about the concert itself. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, the day of the concert. Or at least, what I thought was the day of the concert. We're at the hotel, getting ready. I'm putting on makeup, playing the artist's songs in the background, and just generally radiating excitement. I ask him to pull up the tickets, so we can see when doors open. He goes quiet. I look over at him, and his face drops. He booked the tickets for the wrong day. Not just the wrong time, an entirely different day. My heart sank. We tried to see if there was anything we could do, but nope. It was too late. The concert had already passed. The seats were unused. No refunds. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just kind of went silent. He kept apologizing, saying he must have gotten mixed up, that he was sure it was the right day. I know he felt bad. I really do. But all I could think about was all the hours I spent organizing every other detail of this trip, all the mental energy I had poured into it, on top of the stress of my job and everything else. And the one thing he was responsible for, the only part of the trip he handled himself, was wrong. I miss seeing my favorite artist because of a completely avoidable mistake. Safe to say, I've never been more disappointed in my life. It's been a few weeks since that night, and yet I still feel physically, emotionally, and honestly, financially drained. I've gone over it 1,000 times in my head, and I just can't shake the feeling that I can't rely on him. That realization, it's like a quiet grief. It's not the kind of disappointment that screams. It just lingers, heavy and persistent, like background noise in every moment we share. Eventually, I decided we needed to take a break. I told him I needed some space to process everything, and to his credit, he respected that without pushing back. Since then, I've been leaning on my friends and my therapist as I try to figure out what this all really means, not just about that night, but about our future. My therapist helped me realize something I hadn't quite put into words myself. I've been processing what happened as a betrayal. Not a betrayal in the traditional sense. There was no cheating or malice, but as a breach of trust. It was supposed to be my night. He had one job, and it was the one piece of the entire plan I handed over to him. I trusted him with it. And when that fell through, I felt like I was the only one who had really shown up. My friends, bless them, have been doing what good friends do, supporting me, validating my feelings, but also gently nudging me toward the truth. They've told me that it's ultimately up to me whether I want to continue the relationship, but that if they were in my shoes, they wouldn't be able to trust him with anything again. And that's the crux of it, isn't it?
Trust.
Can I trust him with the details? With the small things that make up the big life we were planning together? Here's the thing that keeps tugging at me. I know this was a mistake that anyone could have made. On paper, it's not that deep. We missed a concert. It's not like he lied or cheated. He didn't mean to ruin the experience. In fact, he's apologized so many times I've lost count. He's clearly devastated by how much he hurt me. I believe he feels terrible about it. But there's this quiet frustration inside me that just won't let go. It's the frustration that comes from years of always being the one who holds everything together. The one who remembers birthdays, checks flight times, compares hotel prices, maps out directions, and plans out the day down to the hour so that we both have a good time. I do it because I care. But I never realized how much I was carrying until the one time I let go and everything fell apart. And now, I keep wondering, is this what the rest of my life would look like? If we get married, if we have kids, will I still be the only one coordinating everything while he coasts along with his "it'll work itself out" attitude? Will I resent him more and more each time I do the mental labor while he doesn't even notice it exists? It's been a month and a half since everything happened, and I've had a lot of time to sit with my feelings, process the events, and try to piece together how we got here. I'm a med student. I got into med school a bit later than most of my peers. Not because I wasn't capable, but because life got in the way. Illness in the family, financial struggles, mental health. It wasn't a straight path. But I made it. And at the time of the concert, I was right in the middle of one of the hardest semesters of my life. My anatomy final was coming up and I was buried in flashcards, diagrams, notes, surviving off caffeine and sheer willpower. I couldn't afford any distractions. But the concert? That was supposed to be my reward. A small spark of joy in a sea of endless studying. My boyfriend, let's call him Jim, knew how much it meant to me. He'd bought the tickets nearly a year in advance. It was a rare, much-needed break, and I clung to the thought of it like a lifeline. We were staying with one of Jim's friends, Jane, and her boyfriend, John. From the second I walked in, I felt like I didn't belong. It's hard to explain, but you can just feel when people don't want you there. Jane barely acknowledged me. At dinner, she only spoke to Jim or John. Every time Jim left the table, it was like I became invisible. Then came the moment that really rattled me. Jane mentioned wanting something cheap and sweet after dinner. I suggested a cute little dessert shop I'd looked up earlier that day. She looked at me, smirked, and said, "EW, it smells there." I asked her what she meant, and she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "It smells like poor people." I felt my face flush with embarrassment and rage. I pulled Jim aside and told him what she said, expecting him to be at least somewhat upset. He laughed. That was it. No defense of me, no confrontation, just a casual laugh like I'd told him a dumb joke. And in that moment, I felt completely and utterly alone. The rest of the night was a blur. Conversations I couldn't join. Inside jokes I didn't understand. The clear feeling that I wasn't welcome, that I wasn't one of them. I excused myself as early as I could and cried in the shower. I felt like a ghost, like the night would have unfolded exactly the same whether I'd been there or not. And then, the next day, it got worse. Jim checked the tickets and realized he'd booked them for the wrong day. They were for the previous night. The one night I sat at a table being ignored and insulted. I was heartbroken, but I wasn't ready to give up. I scoured the internet for resale tickets. I was desperate. I got in touch with someone who claimed to have a pair. Sent them the money. And it turned out to be a scam. I lost 80 euros. Filed a report. The police put the case on hold. Just like that, it was gone. Money I couldn't really afford to lose. All because I was trying to fix something I shouldn't have had to fix in the first place. Jim apologized. Over and over. He said he felt horrible. That he knew how badly he messed up. And I believe that he did feel bad. But the damage was done. It wasn't just the ticket mistake. It was the indifference to how I was treated by his friends. This concert weekend was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it felt like a wake. For my trust, for my belief that we were truly in this together. I'm still on the break. I still don't know what to do. I love him. He's kind and funny and thoughtful in so many other ways. But I can't unsee what I saw that weekend. During the days that followed the concert disaster, I watched Jim spiral into a guilt loop. He kept repeating how stupid he was, how badly he'd messed up, how he would fix everything, though he never once said how. It was always some vague promise of repair without a blueprint. No concrete ideas, no plans to ensure something like this wouldn't happen again. And I couldn't pretend like it was just the tickets. It was the culmination of everything: the indifference when Jane humiliated me, the lack of accountability, the silence when I needed comfort most. I needed more than just a regretful look and recycled apologies. I needed him to show me that I mattered. I didn't speak to him for nearly 2 weeks. I disappeared into myself. Spent long nights scrolling Reddit, seeking comfort from strangers who didn't know me but somehow got it. Eventually, after so much mental back and forth, I decided to give Jim one more chance. I messaged him and said that maybe we both needed to work on our communication. I wasn't excusing his mistakes, but I was willing to try again if he could show me growth. His response? He said he didn't expect me to give him another chance and didn't know how to react, so he thought about it for over 12 hours and didn't contact me. That silence told me everything. In those 12 hours, I emotionally let go. I told myself, this is it. I accepted that maybe he didn't want to be with me anymore, but didn't have the courage to say it. I was heartbroken but calm. When someone shows you hesitation in your moment of vulnerability, you learn not to expect stability from them. The next day, Jim finally responded and agreed to try again. But it didn't feel right. The warmth, the commitment, the urgency, none of it was there. He immediately started making excuses. He told me summer would be rough, that he might be jobless, money would be tight, and we probably wouldn't be able to see each other. He encouraged me to just enjoy my summer. It sounded more like a soft breakup than a step toward rebuilding. And then came the final blow. I found out, through mutual friends and social media, that he had, in fact, attended a music and film festival. Not just attended, but went all in. By my estimate, he spent at least €300 between travel, tickets, food, drinks, and whatever else. It hit me like a punch to the gut. Not because I begrudged him a good time, but because it confirmed everything I feared. The money excuse was a lie. The commitment to fix things was a lie. The effort to show up for me, to rebuild what we lost, was a lie. He had the means to do something fun, just not when it came to us. So, I finally said what I'd been holding in for weeks. I messaged him and said I was tired of being dismissed, of waiting for growth that never came, of being treated like an obligation instead of a priority. I told him that he hadn't even apologized for what Jane said to me, that I couldn't see him making any real effort to plan a future or own his mistakes. He replied calmly. We wished each other well. We told each other we'd be open to talking again if we ever crossed paths in the future. It was the most peaceful, civil breakup I've ever had. And yet, it hurts more than any fight-fueled split I've ever experienced. There's something about an amicable goodbye that's so much harder to grieve. When there's no yelling, no explosive final straw, no clear villain, it's easy to second-guess yourself. To sit in silence and wonder, was I too harsh? Did I give up too soon? But deep down, I know the truth. I gave my all. I communicated clearly. I was patient. I was forgiving. I extended grace over and over. And in return, I got silence, excuses, and a man who said he'd fix things but never truly tried. Still, it feels like I lost a piece of myself. He was someone I once saw forever with. Someone I'd built dreams around. And now he's just gone. Not with a bang, but a slow fade. Like watching your favorite book lose its pages one by one until you're left with nothing but the spine. Rationally, I know I did the right thing. I chose myself. I chose peace over uncertainty. But emotionally, it feels like mourning. It feels like someone I loved deeply has died, even though he's still out there living his life, going to festivals, pretending everything's fine. I don't hate him. I don't even think he's a bad person. But he wasn't the right person for me. Not when I needed a partner who would stand up for me, prioritize me, fight with me and for me. So now I'm healing. Slowly. Quietly. Mourning not just what I lost, but what I thought I had. And that kind of grief, I'm learning, is the most complicated of all.